My name is Charlotte Hall. I'm the General Manager Investment, and part of that role actually involves managing the Exploration Incentive Scheme. So just one slide on this, just to give an overview, as some of you may not be aware of this. It's been going since 2009 and has actually gone through different changes in government. So they've been, both parties have been supportive of this. Currently, it is $16.5 million per annum, and as mentioned, with a Labor win and an election commitment, that will now move up to $18 million. So it's principally divided into two, where we've got the co-funding programs, and then we've got the pre-competitive data acquisition. So in the co-funding, we've had since 2009 the drilling, and that currently is at $7 million. We've just started on geophysics, so that's at $2 million. And the energy analysis has been basically devised for the petroleum and geothermal people, but this is one area which is actually poorly supported by them, and it's got $1 million sitting there. So one of the options that I'm looking at and considering is actually allowing that for the mineral industry to come in, and the energy analysis is principally desktop studies. So if a current energy company wants reprocessing of seismic lines, they can get a third party to do that. So to actually use that money, I'm thinking of actually allowing, as I said, the industry, your industry, to come in as part of that co-funding. So I'd like to hear from anyone in the audience that would sort of go, oh my gosh, I'd love to do a project and get this company, this METS company, to do the work. But I can never get it across the board to endorse it. So if you've got any ideas, I would like to hear that. The rest of the money goes basically into our pre-competitive data acquisition, and you can see the major projects there. A lot of these will be spoken about by my colleagues later on, but what I'd like to do before I move to my next slide, I'd actually like all of you just to, in your head, think of a fold. So have you got that mental image? Could you put up your hand on how many of you thought of an antiform as shown there? Now, if you look around the room, more than half of you did that. So there is a preconceived, unconscious bias there. Well, there is. So how often, given that you're familiar with your areas, do you look at your data and go, yep, I found what I needed? But you actually haven't sat there and thought about, what haven't I seen? So why I'm going this way and to talk about the co-funding is that a company gave me feedback and actually said that they actually looked at a company, their neighbour next door, who got co-funding, and they went and got that report, and they looked at it and went, oh my God. They had an unconscious bias on their own area, but when they looked at this other report sitting right next door, it completely changed how they looked at what they were looking at their data, changed their vectorization for their targeting, and they came up trumps. So I'm advising you that now, since 2009, we have over 750 reports that have been released under the co-funded drilling. We now have a new website. All of government's having to move to one wa.gov.au website. The EIS has just moved there. Next week, all of the Geological Survey will be moving there. So just a note, if you've got in your favourites your saved GSWA website, if we haven't had a direct link change, that is the reason. You might actually have to go into Google and restart looking for our websites. That is, when you go to the website, that is the main card to click on, and under that card is all the previous, current and previous drilling locations, and it's generally shown as a map with the companies who were successful in getting co-funded drilling. So I recommend that in late April or late October, when the Minister announces the successful rounds, you pop in there and have a look and see if anyone, like one of your neighbours, might have been successful in getting co-funded drilling. Also take note that 40% of those companies will not drill. they will withdraw for various reasons. So even though they're listed there, they may withdraw, but you're more than welcome to contact me and say, well, did they drill? The nice thing is that the data they produce is released a lot earlier than the annual exploration reports that you have to write. They are kept for 5 years as confidential. The EIS data is out within a year. So you don't have to wait 4 or 5 years to find out what your neighbour drilled. The same with the co-funded geophysics. So as I said, this only just really kicked off and it's $2 million. Because it was so small, I actually just sort of area limited it. So the first area that we started in was Venture 1, which was way out over the east. But again, like the drilling, we release who won and what they've actually looking for and the type of survey that they're going to be doing. The release of their data is slightly different. They actually keep it confidential for the 12 months in which they can do the acquisition, and then another 3 months. But then all of them are released, and it'll always be on the 1st of September of any year. As mentioned, Labor has kindly given us an extra bit of money. Thank you very much. And I'm actually going to make Venture 3 open to the whole state. So right now we're actually doing the application assessment of area Venture 2, which was going to be the northern half. And next year it would have been the southern half. But because of the additional money, I will be opening up to the whole state. Like the drilling, this is not to do a 2D seismic line at the end of your pit. This is going to be for those greenfields areas where potentially someone's flowing something, you spot an anomaly, and you go, hang on, I think, that's the next Olympic Dam, but there's no data there. Put in your application. We will hopefully, shortly, within the next month, actually be releasing on our Data and Software Centre, DASC, a shapefile of all the EIS holes that have been drilled to now. So that will be available as a shapefile, which you'll be able to find when you go into the online databases, DASC Centre, under statewide spatial data sets, go down to drill holes, and then all the co-funded drill holes will be there. And you can see there's quite a few, particularly through the goldfields here. When you actually click on one of those sites, you'll actually get this spreadsheet. And the nice thing is it'll actually present the company that drilled and then the A number. Now the A number, if you're not familiar, is actually the number that is given to the reports that are put into WAMEX, which is the West Australian Mining Exploration Database, which Julia Thom, who's here today, and her team ably manage. And it also gives you the hole ID and the type of hole that it is. If you want to read that report and find more data, you can go into the online databases in WAMEX. You can put in that A number, which you've seen in the spatial search, and you can find all the report there. Alternatively, we also have the blue one down there. There's a company for us at the moment has been putting out a text search on all the exploration reports, only it is about a year behind. So if you really want something that's just been released to open file, go to this WAMEX research, search. Otherwise, a text search is also very good. And as an example of that text search, here's the address to it. You would put in the A number as there, which is, in this case, Encounters Report 108240, and then it will list everything that it has found with that number, and usually at the top is the WAMEX search result. And in this case, while you can open the report, you can also open, what is very nice, is the open drill holes. And it zooms straight into where those drill holes were, gives you a nice image, including the tenements that are around it. And you can, from there, use the download button to take the lithology, your collar, your assays. You can download it straight from there. So you can see how it fits in with where your tenement might be, and you can expand on that. So that hopefully will be here within a month on our website. So a little story here is that just recently, a person was there at about midnight writing his ASX announcement because they had just made a discovery. And his wife said to him, "Right, so you've told the department, haven't you?" And he goes, "What?" What he didn't realise is that you are required to tell the department, specifically the minister, that you have made a mineral discovery, something of economic importance. So those 3 dot points there, actually, which I won't read out, are sort of what we mean by economic significance. So then he had to hurriedly find out the email address to which this telling the department that he had made this discovery, and that's the email address there. And all you need to do is put into that email the location data, which should include a map, the mineral locations, and then of course what sort of mineral you found, the parties involved, and all the contact details. Now that email to us remains confidential. Even though there might be an associated ASX announcement with it, which will be public, that actual email to us remains confidential. And quarterly, we write a report to the Minister on the mineral discoveries. If you don't do it, I haven't seen it happen yet, because it is a statutory requirement, there could be forfeiture of your tenement, and you really don't want to do that when you've got a mineral discovery. So that's just one little thing. And the other thing I would ask is, if you're doing your co-funding applications, you have 4 weeks in which to put that application in. Now, the graph on the right there is 14 days prior to the round closing. And have a look at the last day. I get more than half of your applications, and I get half of those in the last 4 hours. Now, I can generally pick which ones have been written in the last 4 hours, because they're not successful. What I am recommending is that the day it opens, now it's always on the first Monday in February and the first Monday in August for the co-funded drilling. The geophysics, it's on the first Monday of February with the drilling. You can go in to the website. We're using a process called Smarty Grants, which is hosted off-site by this company. Go in and download a preview of the form, in which you can see just how much you actually have to put into that application. Don't leave it to the last day. And on that note, I will leave it there. Thank you.